welcome to another episode of Tori Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
I'm Jesse. I'm intimidated.
And I'm Josh. And Jesse,
Yes.
you look smoother than butter on cream cheese.
Stop stealing what I say. I'm slow today and tomorrow.
We're going to be going over the three tests, which is an African folk tale. It's a Swahili African folk tale, which was told in this edition by Roger D. Abrahams. And I had some, I wanted to just do a little quiz with Tori.
No.
That's your turn.
Here's your question.
Okay.
What owns 4 pair of pants, lives in Philadelphia, and it doesn't rain but it pours?
Sylvia Plath, that sounds crazy.
Right there.
Wait, could you please repeat the riddle?
What owns 4 pair of pants, lives in Philadelphia, and it doesn't rain but it pours?
It doesn't rain, but it pours.
A garbage truck. No, never mind.
Why would garbage?
I don't know.
Why would a garbage
I heard
truck own
flies.
pants?
I heard
Owns
flies.
4 pairs of pants.
Four pairs of pants. Lives in Philadelphia. Pours.
You know what? I don't really know the answer myself, so we're just going to skip that.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
I got a better one.
Wait, whoa.
I got a better one.
No. Whoa. Wait a second. Where did that come from? Did you just make it up?
I'll let you know. Here's the next question. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'm afraid to know.
Two of these are definitely true. One of these not so much.
Okay.
What's reddish mahogany on top, black on the bottom, and is a big pain in the neck? Not yet.
That's Tori.
I was just supposed to say me. He's talking about me.
That one. How did you guess that one pretty quickly?
I don't know. You tell me.
Have you ever watched Duck Soup?
Ducks. What are you? Are you speaking? I understand each
Groucho Marx?
individual word.
The Marx Brothers movie.
No.
That was the interview question.
Oh.
I was not. I feel like I've been hornswoggled. I was not able to do research before this.
And then Chico turned it back on Groucho and created a question of that nature.
This is the equivalent of the why is a raven like a writing desk?
My brother's favorite is what's big and green, and if it fell out of a tree, it could kill you.
Tree.
What's big?
A pool table.
This is the best one I've ever heard of this kind of thing.
Alrighty.
Ask me if I'm a tree.
Are you a tree?
No.
I'm just sitting here drinking.
Okay.
Snapple.
And here, I thought I was as smooth as butter on green cheese.
Okay.
Look at you.
The discussion starter for this work is what qualities do you feel Satika possessed in which he was able to obtain success, whereas his brothers did not?
He went to another island. Like the other ones. He got lucky.
Yeah, I would say if you're looking at it logically, then yes.
I mean, he, kind of asked the question as, why is the seeds working on this island and not at home? And, I mean, the common variable is the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
I mean, he
I
used his
figured it out
brain,
after
whereas
one
his
brother.
brothers didn't.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, they didn't have the chance to be able to ask that question of somebody else. So I think that's where I get the, he was lucky by landing someplace else to get that clue.
But you got to look at the greater picture. The 7th son, he brought his resources, didn't jump right into fending for himself, but instead took the opportunity to help out share his resources with the birds and the flies and the jinns.
Yes, he was generous.
Yes.
And
when you do these kinds of things, when you have consideration for other people are going to be more likely to offer their help when necessary. They'll have their back for you.
Sure.
And
It's like the American folk tale of the three sisters.
hmm.
It's the same exact concept. There's actually a lot of like that kind of stuff out there, where it's like the two older sisters say, "Mama, I'm going to, forge for myself in the world," and they're given like either the big trail cake or the small trail cake, and you must do yada 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 yada. And it's sharing the youngest one shares the travel cake or trail cake. There's a specific term for it, and I can't remember what it is. But long story short, the youngest one is always, generous and offering of things, and the world, when you give, will give back.
Yes.
So.
I would say, yeah, I think a lot of these folk tales play off on one another. The only difference is they're being told from different countries and from different groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was a little strange, right, to kill off cattle that feed flies.
It makes sense because usually when you think of like carrion, there are flies that swarm around it.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense, like, who cares about flies?
He
It's
got
like-
incense from it, so.
Yeah, and they
I
helped
know
him,
he got
and they helped
something
him
out of
pick the right woman, the right princess.
Yeah, that is
I
very,
know.
it's odd and inventive. It's
You
a
didn't
random
know it at the
animal
time.
to choose.
It's a
Yeah, I'll
folk
agree with
tale
you.
when all said. It's very imaginative, but I think that the whole the other moral that comes out of this is that life in itself should be viewed as a marathon and not a race, because the six sons are looking to make progress and obtain material success as quickly as possible. The seventh son seems to take his time and not necessarily worry about himself, but instead
Yeah,
do what
makes
he
those
feels is,
connections. Yeah.
do what he feels is correct.
Yeah, I just felt it was very strange that like it didn't bother to mention, or at least if it did, I missed it. That the other sons, like, they just went straight to this island where magical fruit grows, but then he's like, oh, well, I'm going to all these other islands. And it's like, I feel like the story would have made more sense if, like, all the other brothers went to the same islands and were
It's
like,
oh god, there's too
no,
many birds. Oh
or
god, there's too many flies.
Yeah, and then ended up, exactly, like, I feel like that would have made more sense.
But
It's
at
just
the
like, all
same-
these brothers went there, and he was like, nah.
But at the same time, there's this
Okay.
whole idea that they're not necessarily, you would want to think that they're bad people or they have traits of absolute greed or
No,
absolute
and that's,
ignorance,
I
which
think that's where
they
the
don't.
difference comes from is
Yeah.
that all of them exhibit the same exact behavior. It was just
Yeah.
that this one landed on an island that was different than the other ones.
Mhm.
And that's,
And
where
that's what I think like made it a little, to me, a little less of a. I feel like that was the element it was missing. It was like, how come he ended up on these random 3 other islands before he got to, like, did his brothers not go there? Or like,
I think they
like,
also just
I don't know. It just
they
left
were
a question.
they were
for
just
me.
looking to seize any given opportunity too. But
yeah, that wasn't
when all
fully
is, I think
explained.
that when all is said and done, this is just a folk tale. I think it's got a great message, but the story is very.
The
it's
delivery is a
very.
little funny.
It is funny. It's pretty thin.
Yeah, you gotta ignore certain elements to kind
Yeah,
of
it's
get
a
to
folk
that.
tale, and it's probably like an orally passed down folk tale where it didn't have the ability to be refined. And also, these kinds of things go through other cultural filters.
Yes.
So it very well could have been that they heard that
It's-
story and it was translated differently from another.
Abraham's just translated this collection.
Well, I don't mean just like the
Yeah.
person. I mean like the story
Yeah.
itself. It could have come from
folklore usually
somewhere else
comes down.
located.
Mhm.
Because the one thing is the birds that separate the different seeds. That actually is a reoccurring theme through a lot of different things. There's a version of Cinderella where she's not allowed to go to the ball until she gets all of the millet out of the like ashes that the evil stepmother throws on the ground. So there's one version of that. There's actually a Slavic or Scandinavian folktale that's called the Wondrous Bird or the Golden Bird, and one of the trials that the bird helps with is specifically that. So there's a lot of different cultural things that you'll see pop up and like that happening, that miraculous birds coming in to save the day because they can pick through the seeds like that, because that's what birds do. Like that's actually seen in other cultures. So that's what I mean by going through different cultural filters.
Yes. Mhm.
So you steal all these different pieces, and that's the fun part of
Yeah, I
folk
think that's
stories
what,
that I
like,
love.
yeah, folklore, and it's normally passed down orally, over time until somebody finally, who can write records it. So, we probably lost a little bit, over time that was there. And I do agree, like, I mean, folklore stories are, like, they're so much fun, and they're generally, like, quick reads, easy message, something that you can easily recall to tell the children if you, oh no, I forgot your favorite storybook at home, let me tell you this instead. You know, it's something good like that. That was that one thing that, like, stood out at me, where I was just like I would fix that if I were retelling
And it's still being,
Like,
it's still
just a
being
little bit.
readapted to this day as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But the one thing, for some reason, when I first read it, I had thought that they were referring to the same Sultan and not another Sultan. I had to look back,
Sorry, I just
Uh,
a bird.
because,
out the window.
and I wanted to look back to make sure that I was that they were going to another Sultan instead of to their dad, because
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
really
at
weird.
first I was
It's like,
thinking,
Dad, look what I found.
Dad would
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was
Dad
in
would
prison.
send
I
him
was
to
like,
prison.
what?
It's like you a month ago
What-
you gave me this boat. Why are
what
you saying
dad would kill their kid, and what dad would marry their kid off to their sister.
I was confused a little bit too.
We won't
like,
talk about the Egyptians then in front of Josh.
I just like I was confused by it too, because then I was like, wait a minute, his son brought back these seeds, and then his brother went to look for him. Did he not tell him that he put his brother in jail? Like what?
Listen, the
I felt like that
castle's
needed-
pretty big.
I think that
Pretty
the clarification helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
To sum it up, but they sum the whole thing up in 3 sentences. The son and the princess got married, the brothers were released from prison, and that was the end. And that's it.
The story is finished.
The story's
Yes,
finished.
The story is
Granted,
finished.
that's the way that a folk tale seems to. That's the
I just
quality
like
of
it.
a
There's
folk
no
tale.
like beautiful like, and they lived happily ever after. The end. The story is finished. Like that's it.
That's
They got married. The story's finished.
happily ever after is
No
a
more. Could you
cliche.
imagine telling that to a child, like laying in bed?
Yes, I can actually.
Be like,
I really can.
and then he got married and set his brothers free. The story's finished. Good night. Like that's it.
the story went on for far too
Period.
long as we talked about the birds and the flies and the jinns, and I've already lost the kids' interest. They got married. The end. Now go to bed. Just put a pin in it. You're good.
Already then. Do we have any final thoughts?
It was a perfect example of like what I said. You know, you find these little cultural other stories popping up, and it just shows you how connected in the trade value that stories were. Besides, you know, physical goods, stories were traded a lot too, and storytellers would steal all those good little bits and put them into their own stories when they spun their tales. So
I would agree with that.
yeah.
I think it was a great folk tale. That was that. So I think that's all. That's the thing.
That's the end of this episode.
But
That's the end of the show.
This
All
episode
right.
is finished.
already. But first, here's the African folk tales selected and retold by Roger D. Abrahams. And I definitely want to get into this complete collection a bit more as well. Roger D.
Just making
Abrahams
me laugh.
was a professor of
There's something very
folklore
Russian
and
about that.
folk life at the University of Pennsylvania.
The story is finished. Sorry. I'm
Be
sorry.
sure to join us next time on another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading, and now the story's finished.
Bye.